Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Adventures in Machine Learning. This week on our panel, we have Gant Laborde.
Hello.
I'm Charles Max Wood from DevChat.tv. And this week, we have a special guest, and that's Benson Ruan.
Hello, everybody.
Do you want to introduce yourself real quick? Let us know who you are,
Sure.
why you're famous.
Sure. My name is Benson Ruan. I'm a Chinese living in Sydney, Australia. I work as a tech lead in a fintech company. I love all the cool stuff that machine learning and AI creates. I enjoy sharing knowledge and ideas with the developer community. I think machine learning and AI is fun and it can make our lives better. So it's an amazing thing to see more and more people getting interested in the AI technology. And thanks to Gant and Charles having me here today to talk about my adventure of machine learning.
Are you a software engineer trying to learn machine learning? Then you should check out the course from educative.io called Machine Learning for Software Engineers. It has 87 lessons, 8 quizzes, 115 challenges, 163 playgrounds, and 2 code snippets. In other words, it's not just a set of videos that tell you how to do the thing. It actually walks you through all of the processes for machine learning. It gives you quizzes, it makes you do challenges, it's very hands-on, it's done with experts from companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple, and it is a terrific course that I've been learning to do machine learning. So go check it out at devchat.tv/learnml. That's devchat.tv/learnml, and that'll take you to the right place so you can sign up for the course. Awesome. Yeah, it's great to have you. So you want to just give us a little bit of background as far as like what you've done with machine learning? And
Yeah, sure. The reason why I started machine learning is in the past few years, I've been seeing more and more applications that use machine learning to solve the real-world problems. You can use your Face ID to unlock your iPhone. That's machine learning used for face recognition. You can say, "Okay, Google," to start your Google Home Assistant. That's machine learning used for speech recognition. Gmail use machine learning to filter out spams. Netflix use machine learning to predict what you might like to watch. So for me as a developer for many years, I'm always curious about how things works. What's the magic inside the black box? And I know the classic rule-based programming cannot make that happen. Only machine learning can do it. So I decided to dig into machine learning.
nice. Now, you and Gant know each other, don't you? Or I think Gant said you might have met online or something. I don't remember.
I follow everything he does on Twitter. That's for sure. Always
there you
coming
go.
out with great things. It's very entertaining. And I would call him a fellow mad scientist.
Nice. So what's it like to be Twitter famous then, I guess?
Not that famous. Ken is more famous than me, for sure. I know him first in the show and talk in TensorFlow.js, they're hosted by the Google. Yeah, that's very interesting. Get in touch with Ken.
Yeah. You know, I really think that this is a strong point. I know this show, we've talked about PyTorch, we've talked about TensorFlow, but we've really talked a bit about TensorFlow.js. And I think that we're going to see that happen a lot more because it's just really easy to show your work. It's really easy to build something and then just show it to everybody quickly. And that sparks conversation. That sparks like people sending DMs and chatting about this stuff. You're like, oh, that is such a cool idea. What made you think of that? Or what'd you use? What's the model underneath there? So I have to say, like, I know that we've all been, you could study a lot of courses. And I think, Benson, you've taken a lot of Coursera courses as well, right?
Yeah. So my study of machine learning is back into early 2019. At that time, I tried to figure out what's the best way for me to learn machine learning. And I thought probably there might be 3. First one, like buying a machine learning textbook and study by myself. Second, like take a course in the unit and studying part-time. The third one is taking online courses. Right. At the end, I think taking the online course is my best fit because it's flexible. You can do it at your own pace. And it do provide an online community to help answer your questions when you get stuck. So I did some research on what's the best course for beginners, and they all pointed to Professor Andrew Ng's machine learning course on Coursera. It is an 11 weeks courses, and it covers all the fundamental knowledge that you need to know for machine learning, like linear regression, logistic regression, forward and backward propagation in neural networks. And already over 3 million students that have taken this course. And the average rating is 4.9 out of 5. That's probably 98% of the students say it's worth it. I think Professor Andrew explains those mathematical algorithms in a way that you can easily understand. It took me about 8 weeks to finish the course. And after that, I'm more confident to dive into more advanced courses, also taught by Professor Andrew. I spent another 2 months finishing deep learning specialization. This specialization has 5 courses. It covers topic of deep neural networks, convolutional neural network, recurrent neural network, LSTM, and many more. During those few months, I spent about 10 hours per week studying. It was like an hour per day and plus an afternoon in the weekend. So I think it's totally achievable, even though that you have a full-time job.
Yeah, I've signed up for that course twice.
I have ridiculous respect for everybody who makes it through Andrew Ng's Stanford machine learning course. It is tough.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It's tough. A lot of my advancement is also directly affiliated with Andrew Ng, doing the same exact courses like you did. So for our listeners, when did he come out with that one? In 2012 in Stanford, I think Andrew Ng did. Yeah, the very first one. And to be honest, it's actually not even, this scared someone when I told them once, and don't be scared by it. It's not completely accurate anymore, but you're not really, it's only inaccurate in the sense of this is the best way to do something. But it still, like, all the new things that are the best way to do stuff are built on some of those same principles. Because I think when he wrote it, like, ReLU was not even a considered function or didn't exist. So, he's using sigmoid activation functions throughout his entire neural network simply because ReLU wasn't invented yet. And, now I would not use sigmoid in the intermediary layers. But I mean, that I can hold that conversation. We can chat about that because I actually really understand what sigmoid was doing from that course. And I actually understand significantly, what the alteration is between that and ReLU and leaky ReLU. And then someone's going to tell me I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time. That'd be fun. But I could see that happening at some point. Just somebody's like, you're not even saying these things right. But the truth of the matter is, it's really such a powerful course because of those fundamentals. And it's also severely abstract from the practical application. It's like you'll carry this knowledge forever and it'll lightly influence you, but never directly touch anything from that first course. Those later courses, the specializations you were talking about, I feel like those get real practical and they kind of get you started.
After all those courses, I have a strong desire to apply what I learned into practice, right? Then I started to do some research on how people do machine learning projects, what programming language are they using, what libraries and APIs are they using. Then TensorFlow came into my sight. Right. TensorFlow was developed by the Google Brain team, and it was completely open source. Right. It not only a library, it's a complete ecosystem that can solve machine learning projects. Right. Do have a few advantages for using TensorFlow. Right. You can build and train models using the high-level Keras API. You can visualize the performance when you're training. By using TensorBoard, you can easily serve your model for consumption. By using TensorFlow serving, you can apply machine learning in the mobile apps. By using TensorFlow Lite, you can bring machine learning into the browser by using TensorFlow.js. That's why I love machine learning. It just solves all your problems. From model building, training, iterating, to serving the model in APIs, mobile apps, and browsers.
Yeah, it's an awesome setup of tools that Google's come up with for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Even if it is written in Python.
Well, the TensorFlow.js is in JavaScript.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm particularly interested in TensorFlow.js. The reason is being a developer for many years, so fascinated by the idea of bringing machine learning and AI into the browser. And then I started to build demos using JavaScript and TensorFlow.js. TensorFlow.js is an open source JavaScript library for machine learning. I think if you are a JavaScript developer who's new to machine learning, TensorFlow.js is a great way to start. You can import an existing pre-trained model for inference, which means if you have an existing TensorFlow or Keras model you previously trained in Python offline, then you can convert it into a TensorFlow.js format and load it into the browser for inference. Or you can retrain an imported model using the transfer learning to augment it an existing trained model. That's a good way to train an accurate model quickly, given that you only have a small amount of data. You can also use TensorFlow.js to do the whole thing from the beginning, like define, train, and run the model entirely in the browser using the JavaScript and the high levels and layers API. The demos that I've been building covers areas of image classification, object detection, body segmentation, face detection, hand tracking, motion detection, sentiment analysis. I have a lot of fun while building those demos. And my wife suggested that I should write a blog to document my journey, and I share my knowledge to other like-minded people. So once I built something cool, deploy the demo to my website, write a blog to document how I implemented it, and I will show it to my friends, share it on social media. That's how I get to know again, right?
Yeah.
Then I get feedbacks from people. Some will say, "Oh, your demos are amazing." Some will give you suggestions how you can improve it to work better. It feels good when you accomplish something and people find it interesting, and that's the drive to keep me going.
Yeah, there's a real cool aspect of sharing this stuff. And honestly, I'll say, like, we're building some really high profile, fun demos right now. Do you think that there's, in applying this, that pretty much every business is going to have this in their websites at some point? Or is there like a specific aspect of TensorFlow.js or the machine learning that you can see being the next big library or something that's very useful? Because it's super cool to build, some of the stuff that is visual. But you mentioned sentiment analysis and kind of like helping police websites, well, more like helping people be nice to one another on websites. And I think that that's a really cool initiative because, like Nextdoor.com, I think has implemented some of the stuff to warn people when they're about to say something that's going to be pretty offensive to everybody in their community. And Gmail, yeah, they've got some interesting thoughts. So I'd love to hear what you think. Like, where is this going? Like, where are some of the cool things that you're seeing here in the training, and where they could fit into websites as an application person?
Yeah, I think running the machine learning program on the website is the next big move for machine learning. Running machine learning programs entirely client-based in the website, but it means that from the user perspective, you don't need to install any library or any software, but you just open the web page and your program is ready to run. In addition, it's ready to run with GPU accelerator, but TensorFlow.js automatically support WebGL. And if you accelerate your code behind the scene when the GPU is available, right? And all data stays on the client. It's good for those privacy-preserving applications. Right? You don't need to send data to the server. It all stayed in your browser. And recently, I see use case in the e-commerce sector, right, which is the virtual try-on feature. Some e-commerce websites, now you can virtually try on cosmetics, eyewears, jewelries, as well as clothing. I believe browser-based machine learning and AI applications will become more and more popular. Yeah.
Nice.
It's interesting. You talked about, sentiment analysis with, your tweets and things like that. But I'm also just thinking sentiment analysis for blog posts, right?
Yeah.
So it's hey, are you trying to strike a playful tone, or are you trying to strike a more just kind of informational, or things like that? Or, it could point out, hey, the sentiment analysis on these 3 paragraphs is this, and the other 2 is this. It's a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
Or the other thing that I'm starting to get into now, and I've always wanted to write a fantasy novel. And so I imagine that too, right? Where it does a sentiment analysis across a chapter or 2 chapters, right? And so for the more playful characters, it has more playful things, or maybe it just does a sentiment analysis on the dialogue, right? I mean, it sounds way fun. And if I'm doing it in a system that's web-based, then yeah, it just runs in TensorFlow JS, and I don't have to, I'm imagining like a WordPress plugin that analyzes my stuff, things like that. So
I did build a demo on my website that doing sentiment analysis on the browser for Twitter. Yes.
Well, that's easy. Angry Twitter, angry, always angry. Angry. Somebody is wrong.
I have to go. Someone's wrong on the internet.
Yeah, that demo is using a Node.js model called sentiment.js. Right. First, I need to register an API from Twitter to be able to pull down the tweets. Right, and then you feed the tweets through the sentiment API, and then if you perform the sentiment analysis for each tweet text, it will return a score that it indicate whether the tweet is neutral, positive, or negative. After that, I display the result in a pie chart to say how many percentage of the tweets are positive, negative, or neutral. I think it's simple, useful for beginners. Is doing such projects is a really good starting point.
That's really cool. Let's dig into it for a second there. For the sentiment analysis, did you get a model that you liked, or did you train one?
I didn't train one. So basically, on the open source community, there's already a lot of those models that you can build your application on. Right? If you're interested to trade by your own, I think you can get a data set from like Cargo. Cargo have some open source data set that you can use to train your model. But if you just want to build an application and use other people's model, you can also do it. Or you can use transfer learning to trade a more generic model and add more data onto it. So yeah.
Very nice. Awesome. And then what technology did you use for this Twitter sentiment analysis? You have the API. Where are you doing it on client? Are you using backend? Is the model on a server or client?
The model is on the client. So first you connect to the Twitter API to pull down the tweets. Then you load the sentiment model into the browser. Then you feed each tweet through the model is purely inside the browser, and then it will return a score. That score indicates whether it's neutral, positive, or negative.
Awesome. So what other project do you want to talk about next that you've done? I know that you've done quite a few.
Yeah, I can talk about two more projects that I've done. It's more using TensorFlow.js in the computer vision field. So the first one is called Selfie Anywhere. It's very similar to the background change feature in Zoom, in which you can hide your message room in the background and replace it with a different theme. I built a demo that brings this feature into the browser. You can just go to the web page of the demo, turn on the webcam. It will put you inside a famous tourism spot by changing the background of your webcam in real time. It was like a green screen, putting you in a relaxing beach in the middle of the desert, or even on the surface of the moon. Right? But you don't actually need a green screen or any software. With machine learning, it can automatically separate you from the background. The reason that I built this is in the beginning of this year, me and my wife had planned a trip to Europe, China, and US. We got the travel visa granted, hotels booked, but because of the pandemic and the lockdown, all these get cancelled. My wife got a little bit upset because we had been planning this for a long time. And I remember one day she browsed a photo of the Louvre Museum and said, I wish I could be there. Then the idea of building this demo came into my mind. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make your dream come true. Right. After I finish building this demo, we use it to take selfies. And as we have traveled to the Great World, Easter Island, and the moon as well. She's been pretty happy about it.
Nice. So you found the cheap version of the travel. It's way better. Why pay for Disney World when you could just...
It's the Facebook version of the trip, right? You didn't have to go anywhere, but all your friends are jealous.
The that I built this demo is utilizing machine learning model called BodyPix. BodyPix is released by TensorFlow.js. It can identify the human body in an image or on a video stream, and it can separate the foreground body from the background on a pixel level. In other words, BodyPix can identify the pixels of an image. It can classify the pixels of an image into two categories: pixels that are representing a person and pixels that are representing the background. It can also classify further the pixels that representing a person into one of the 24 body parts, such as your left hand, and the right lower leg, etc., etc. It released its version 2.0 last year, which supports multi-person segmentation. So it's not only one person, you can have multiple persons in the webcam or image, and it can still segment those different persons and different body parts correctly. I think it's an amazing model, and I use it in my demo.
Leveling up is important. I spend at least an hour every day learning ways I can improve my business or take a break and listen to a good book. If you're looking to level up, I recommend you start out with the 12-week year as a system to plan out where you want to end up and how to get the results you want. You can get it free by going to audibletrial.com/code. That's audibletrial.com/code.
Yeah, I think Jason Mays uses that for his invisibility cloak. He was using the JavaScript BodyPix, which is really good set up. So it's
that
really cool.
That would get my 11-year-old excited. Invisibility cloak.
Yes, indeed. So
she's Hermione or something.
Yeah, I love the whimsicality of like traveling or invisibility cloaks. It's such a good aspect. And so once you've got this information, are you essentially cleaning up, drawing the pixels in there using tensors to put a background behind it or a transparency? Can you step us through just a little bit more of what you do with that BodyPix data?
Yeah, sure. So step one, you include the script of TensorFlow.js and BodyPix model in the head section of the HTML5, or you can also install it via NPM that you can use in TypeScript. And the second step is load the BodyPix model by calling its load function.
Mm-hmm.
After that, the model will be loaded into your browser. First step, you start to feed the webcam stream frame by frame through the BodyPix model to perform the body segmentation. This is done by calling its estimate person segmentation function. It will return a binary array. For the pixels that are part of the person, the value will be 1. For the pixels that are not part of the person, the value will be 0. The fourth step, you remove the background by setting the pixel's transparency value to 0. That's how you remove the background. It's actually you set it to be transparent. The final step is once you have the canvas that only contains the body with the transparent background, then you can just overlay it on top of a background image with some CSS. Yeah, that's pretty much how I implemented the demo. It's not too complex and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you know how big the BodyPix model is?
I think it's just 3 megabytes.
Oh, that's really good. When we're talking to people about some of these projects, something as amazing as identifying the person and removing them and giving it a different background, that's only 3 megabytes. That's really impressive. I love the stuff that they're doing there.
Yeah. I can talk about another demo that is called Face Mask.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a demo for Face Mask virtual try-on, where you can just go to the web page of the demo, turn on the webcam, pick the face mask that you like, and it can detect where your face is in the webcam and virtually put the selected mask on your face, so that you can see how it looked like when you were wearing those masks. The reason that I built this demo is I would like to remind people the importance of wearing a face mask during the pandemic. It will help slow the spread of the virus. I hope people find my demo interesting, and when they play along with it, it can help remind them to wear a mask when they go out to the public.
Now, as a disclaimer, I just want everybody to know, if you're sick and you use AI to put a face mask on you, you really don't have a face mask on. You still can infect everybody with whatever kind of nastiness you currently have. But in that demo, you have some pretty impressive masks, if I remember correctly. You have like a wide... Where did you get all those mask pictures from?
Just Google it.
I was going to say, the mask pictures look good when you're trying to virtual signal on Facebook as well.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
You could just... You could have... are you going to combine these so that you can have a photo of you in Disney World wearing a mask?
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. I'll think about it.
Oh, that's funny. So let's dig into the tech on the face mask demo. Yeah, which model did you use? What was the plan, and then your execution?
Yeah, the demo is use a machine learning model called Face Mesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Face Mesh is also released by TensorFlow.js. It's a very lightweight machine learning model, and it can detect 486 facial landmarks of a human face. To step through how I use it in my demo, step 1, you just include the script of TensorFlow.js and the face mesh model in the head section of the HTML file, or you can install it via NPM. Step 2, you load the face mesh model by calling its load function. Then the model will be loaded into your browser. Step 3, you start to feed the webcam stream, also frame by frame, through the face mesh model to perform face landmark detection. This is done by calling its estimate faces function. It will take an input image or video stream, and it will return an array of the face landmark key points and the bounding boxes and the confidence level. So for each of the face landmark key points, it will contain the location of the XY axis and the depth. And out of the 468 face landmarks, I only use 4 of those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't need all of them.
What I love about that is that AI is coming in there. It's like, look what I did. And you're like, I will take 4 of these.
Yeah.
I only use the forehead, the left cheek, the chin, and the right cheek. Then I use those 4 key points to calculate the width and the height of the mask and XY axis of the location where I should put my image on. And the last step is just overlay the PNG face mask image on top of your face. That's pretty much how I did.
So if I want to go find these, how do I find them? I'm assuming these demos are on GitHub or somewhere where I can go.
It's on my website. So you can just go to my website, bensonruan.com. You can see more than 10 demos there, and one of them is the face mask.
I'm not sure that this is really your website. It could just be a background that makes it look like it's your website, and you're not actually... The joke's gone too far. I wonder if there's, in kind of the world of this, we're going to see more of this kind of super advanced model and then asking for some piece of that information. Because I think if all the models that are out there are quite a few that will return facial data as well. But then I'm thinking about it. So if you used, for instance, instead of using face mesh, if you use PoseNet, it'll give you, I think, 4 landmarks on the face, but you'll have all that waste of it caring about your arms and all the other kinds of things. So I can only see us going further and further into having AI tell us all these amazing things in a few megabytes. And then we're going to use it for fun stuff like putting masks on people and really cool stuff like that. So I love that they do 468 facial landmarks in 3D, and you use 4 of them. That's my favorite part.
I know, right?
Super awesome. And yeah, all these demos, and that's the cool thing about TensorFlow.js. So all these demos that you've done are on your website. So as long as you're, just click on the links, I think we'll put them in the show notes, of course. Yep. People can play around with it instantaneously.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Gant, I know that you're kind of running into a time lock here today. Before we do that, though, Benson, I keep hearing about your Twitter account. What is it?
It's Benson Ruan.
Awesome.
Benson, Ruan. Yeah.
All right. And your website, you already mentioned. If you put it in the chat, we'll make sure it winds up in the show notes. Anything else that we should make sure that we let people know about before we wrap up?
I think more and more people are getting into this machine learning and AI field. And there's online community for developers to people like us. Right. For the people that is new to this field, I suggest a few ways that they can get help when they get stuck. First one, I would suggest developer to follow machine learning and AI hashtags on social media like Twitter and LinkedIn. Usually when people build something that is useful, when they use machine learning, they will post on social media using those hashtags. You always can learn a lot from other people's demo and the GitHub repositories. Second, I would suggest developer to practice on cargo datasets, participate in the forums in cargo, read other people's notebook. You can ask questions and receive advice from other data scientists and discuss and request for open source data sets. Lastly, I would suggest people to join offline machine learning and AI meetups. There are a lot of ML and AI developers groups around the globe, and they will host regular tech talks, knowledge sharing meetups. And I think it's a good opportunity to learn from the best and get inspiration and know more like-minded people.
Definitely. +1 on that. I think people sharing this information is definitely helpful. And you see as more people are getting involved with AI and kind of talking to each other, we start to figure out, a lot of really interesting concerns and a lot of really awesome solutions at the same time. So the more people who are involved in that conversation, the better.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to encourage people to reach out to you if they have questions as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and do some picks real quick. Gant, do you want to start us off with picks?
Yeah. So Benson, picks is the section where we can just choose something amazing and just highlight it in this episode. I'm going to highlight something that has nothing to do with technology. I've been watching a show that trust me, I never thought I'd be the guy who says this. Been watching a show called My Hero Academia, which I think is a Japanese animation show. Someone recommended it to me, and I am addicted. It is one of those things where I've kind of like found a character, and Deku, who never gives up. He never gives up. And I love the show because of him. So I'll recommend if you've kind of one of those people who you're like, I'm not too sure if I want to see one of these, the My Hero Academia, it's really been amazing. And after every time I watch an episode, I'm really motivated to go code or go for a run or do anything else. It's really infectious on how motivational this show is. So it's like a shot of coffee, and that's how I'll recommend it.
Nice. I'm going to jump in with a few picks. So one of the first picks I have is listen to a couple of books on Audible. And so I'm going to pick those. One that I've read before or listened to before, both actually, is The 12-Week Year. And it's more or less how I plan things out, kind of take it in 3-month chunks and tackle it that way. It talks you through, planning your week as well and setting up a vision. But so I really, really enjoy it. I've actually got a couple of videos that I've recorded on how I've kind of implemented what they have in the book. And I'm working on a place where I can put those up. I basically want to give them away in conjunction with a productivity bundle that a friend of mine sells. And so when you buy that, you'll be able to get those videos, because I think that's kind of the best way to kind of tie it in and make sure that people are going to actually use it instead of a gee whiz thing, because I want to make a difference for folks. The other one is The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And it's kind of a book about Stoic philosophy. And he dives into a whole bunch of different, modern and ancient examples. And for me, it's felt like kind of the last couple of years, and the last few months, it felt like a couple of years. It feels like the last few years have just, it's just been a pile on this thing and then that thing and then this other thing and then that, right? And anyway, I don't want to complain, but I read the book, and he basically outlines how a lot of these challenges, a lot of the places we get stuck, a lot of the things that happen that we feel like shouldn't have happened to us are actually opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really, really enjoyed the perspective on that. And it's really made me think about, okay, how are these things opportunities? How are these things that are going to push me to make changes that I need to make, learn things that I need to learn, change what I'm doing, and grow. So I've really, really enjoyed that book. And then the last pick that I have, and this is something that I pick up probably every 6 months or so, is a tool called Toggle, TOGGL.com. And it's a time tracker. And what I do with it is I will actually set it up and then I will start tracking everything I do while I'm working for like a week. And then at the end of the week, it'll tell me you spent 6 hours answering emails, which is way too much. Or you've spent too much time browsing Facebook or, just stuff like that. Right. And so then it's okay. I have a tendency to get sidetracked with these things and then I can take steps to train myself out of those things. So nice. I really, really enjoy that. So I'm going to pick that as well. Benson, do you have some picks for us?
My pick would be the TensorFlow.js Show and Tell on YouTube. It already have 2 episodes now. It's hosted by Jason in Google. So every few months, he will organize an online event to let developers that have demos using TensorFlow.js to show the demo, demonstrate how they use TensorFlow.js in the demo, and share this knowledge to the whole community. I think it's very good for beginners to get inspirations and to learn from the others.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. We talked to Jason last week, didn't we?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming, Benson. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
All right. We'll wrap this one up, folks, and we will, until next time, max out.
Bandwidth for this segment is provided by CacheFly, the world's fastest CDN. Deliver your content fast with CacheFly. Visit CACHEFLY.com to learn more.